Welcome to the West Sussex Voice and Participation Podcast, a space where children, young people, families, and carers share stories, shape services, and celebrate achievements. Sit back and enjoy our latest podcast.
Hi guys, welcome back to another podcast. My name's Maya McCrow and I'm here today with
Katie Barnes.
and a lovely representative who, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Kim Anthony. I'm the Head of Children, Young People and Family Services at West Sussex Mind.
Lovely, and today we're here to talk to you about kind of support mechanisms, raising awareness of things you can do for coping strategies and what the charity is. So would you like to get started with a bit of introduction on what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, as I say, I'm from West Sussex Mind, a local mental health charity, and we support people across West Sussex with their mental health. So our mission is that together with those experiencing mental health problems, we will build an inclusive and empowering mental health service, reduce barriers to support and challenge stigma. So we work in the local area with children, young people, families, adults, anybody who really needs support. If we don't provide the support ourselves, then we've got partners that do provide support in different areas. We're here to support people to improve their mental health and have the quality of life that they would like.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds brilliant. And what kind of situations do you deal with? What do people tend to reach out for you for, and what would you provide in those kind of circumstances?
Sure. So the main sort of access point for our service, all of our different services, is our help point. So that's people get in touch with us through email, telephone call, or an online form where they can self-refer. People reach out for a wide range of reasons. So I suppose common issues that people are coming to us with are anxiety, depression, low mood. They might be struggling with, I suppose, some diagnosed mental health conditions. So perhaps they've got a diagnosis of different personality disorders, or what we would call EUPD. They might have a diagnosis or be on medication for different types of anxiety. We also get people coming to us because they might have been feeling really low and trying to manage suicidal ideation. They might have been using unhelpful coping strategies to sort of manage how they're feeling, which can come out in the form of, I suppose, the use of substances, but also self-harm and behaviours. So yeah, people come to us with all different types of need, and I suppose what I would say is that if you're not feeling good and you want support, that you should always seek support, that there isn't like this level that you need to meet. You don't need to be feeling this bad to kind of talk to someone about it and see if there's any support that will help you.
Yeah, definitely. There should be support for everyone. And I think me and Katie, we definitely agree with that. You know, there's so many ways of contact, and your organisation's obviously really, really forward in getting quite professional help. And that brings me on to my next question. What would you say is the kind of best way to reach out to your kind of charity? Is it via a call, website? How would you do it?
So we have our website. On the website, we've got a self-referral form, so like a support request form that gives you information on which areas we provide support in, because we work in partnership with other organisations across West Sussex. So it might be that if you live in Crawley, that we wouldn't provide services in your area, but we know who does. Whereas if you live in the sort of more middle or southern parts of the county, like Worthing or Bognor, or in sort of Shoreham in the Ada area, then we are the provider of support in those areas. There's a form that you can fill out with your information, which then will mean that someone in our help point will contact you. Alternatively, there is a telephone number, and people answer those calls between 10 and 4 throughout Monday to Friday.
That's really good. And I think the kind of perks of having this charity is that it's kind of outside schools, it's outside of those kind of like just talking to your friends, things like that. And it's quite good if you can get onto it. However, if we were to think of other kind of broader advice or strategies for young people, what kind of advice would you give for improving their mental health and wellbeing services, like at home or apps and stuff?
So I think one of the key tools that our staff refer to are the 5 ways to well-being, which you might have heard of before. So there's connect, be active, take notice, keep learning, and give. So I think having a look at your life in those areas and seeing what you are doing and what you could do and how you could make those small changes that can have a huge impact. So with connect, it's, are you connecting with others in a meaningful way? Are you holding, have you got good relationships in your life, like friends, family, interests? So yeah, look at, are you connecting with people? Are you not isolating yourself?
Yeah.
And how can you take steps to connect with others if that feels like a gap? Are you being active? So are you using your body in the ways that you can? Are you taking exercise or going for a walk? Doing anything that you enjoy that brings enjoyment to your body. That's really helpful for mental health, definitely. I think taking notice, so that's just that kind of slowing down element, noticing things. So if you are going for a walk, maybe you're going for a walk with someone, because then you're hitting that be active and connect, but you're also taking notice. So you're not staring at your phone in your pocket, you're not looking at things that aren't just around you. You're just being in that present moment, noticing what you can see, what you can hear. And that's also another really useful method, is that it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you really focus on what are those 5 things that you can see, what are 4 things that you can hear, and you can play around with it using the senses and having a different number of things
definitely
to focus on.
And I do think getting out's probably one of the biggest things. And you know what, it's good to see people, it's good to reach out, talk to people you trust. Me and Katie discussed this before, how good it can be to kind of communicate, do fun things. However, there's also, obviously, we are in a very big phone kind of stage, and there is actually fun or kind of helpful things that you can find and access on there. Like, Katie, do you have any examples?
Touch grass.
Yeah.
Basically, they send an alert to your phone, you have to go send a picture of a piece of grass.
Yeah, which, is pretty helpful because it encourages you to get out, to take notice, things like that, which you've discussed. And it's quite good for that break, especially because, leading on to my next question about school, it's a new stage of school. Most people will be starting a new kind of year, new experience, and there can be lots of stress associated with that, making friends, exams, things like that. Do you have any kind of advice or strategies on your end, Kim, about how you can manage that change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, those times of change and transition can be really difficult to manage. But I think probably the best advice to begin with is going back to basics. So looking at things like sleeping, eating, exercise. Those things are key. So having a good sleep routine. Obviously, the nights are kind of getting darker again now as we come into the autumn. But yeah, just trying not to have too much screen time before you go to bed. Have a nice routine so your body knows that you're trying to go to sleep soon. So, hot drinks, hot bath, something like that. Reading, just really trying to relax, get a good night's sleep. In the morning, I think it's about having that routine. So some people have kind of set things that they'll do in the morning, or a way that they'll do it that helps them remain calm and in control. I think, when you're going into these settings where lots of things are out of your control and you're just part of it, it's really important where you've got those opportunities in your day to really plan what you're going to do, what's good for you, and how you're going to do it, and set yourself up in a way that will help you get the best out of that day. I think, like you say, the pressures in school, it's use those people who are in school to support you. If you need to talk to the pastoral team or your tutor, and if you need to get some help with managing a situation or share something that's going on for you so you can get a bit more support, I would encourage that. But yeah, just making sure that you've also got time planned to do things that you enjoy, that you love. If you're musical, creative, if you play sport, keep doing those things. It's when you're not feeling good, it's quite easy to let those things slide and not do the things that we know we enjoy and that are good for us because we might feel like we don't want to. But sometimes being led by our feelings isn't helpful. It's like, actually, I'm going to do this activity because I know afterwards I'll feel that sense of achievement and I know that it'll be good for me and that I'll have fun.
I definitely agree. And you know what, we've discussed this ourselves again because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Katie does loads and loads of like musical theatre, dance. I mean, talk about it, go for it.
Well, I've done dance since I was 7, and I started musical theatre when I was 12, and I've just met so many amazing and wonderful people along the way, and I feel like I can talk to them and I trust them with so much.
Yeah, and that's another good thing, like talking to people, you know, meeting new people, getting new connections. It's really good to kind of easily make friends, like talking to that person next to you in a new class, you know, doing enrichment or kind of extracurriculars. Those kind of things tend to be quite good for your well-being as well, along with the activities. So yeah, I think that's really good advice. And also for this kind of topic of mental health, we tend to get people that also wonder how they can support other people, or they come to ask about like their friends, family, like people that are struggling. How would you advise them to get help or support their kind of close friends, especially if they're not sure how to help them?
Yeah, that's a really important area. I think the main thing would be, if you are concerned about someone, is like just being brave and raising that conversation with them. It might be that you've noticed that, you know, someone's kind of isolating themselves a bit, or they're not doing the things, you know, they're not coming to the musical theatre club or football club like they usually do. And it's just like reaching out and asking that question, you know, like, how are you? And then if you get that sort of I'm fine response, then it's just like digging a bit deeper and just pushing again, like, you know, I've noticed that you're not doing X, Y, Z. Yeah, do you want to talk about it? Is there something else going on? You know, I care about you, or I love you, however you want to express your feelings towards them, to build up that trust and connection, to then be able to, provide that support and signposting. I think, you know, ultimately people can always suggest that they go to their GP. You could get online together and identify local organisations where you can reach out for support. But yeah, I think just encouraging someone to seek support if they're not feeling okay is the best thing that someone can do. Yeah, signpost to, you know, local organisations like ours, West Sussex Mind. There are, you know, text services like Shout or the Samaritans for a helpline. But I think there's also like lots of free training. So if people really wanted to do something like, on our website, we've got some free training around suicide prevention. And I think that, taking on those opportunities are really helpful, because it takes away, I think some people are fearful that if they ask certain questions, they might then put ideas in people's heads. But actually, when we ask these difficult questions, sometimes it gives someone the opportunity to talk, and that may be what they need.
Yeah, I think that's really important, you know, being that person someone can come to, trying to get people to open up to you and so you can support them. And also kind of realising that you might not always be able to support people, you know, because sometimes people try so hard and it can have an impact on their own mental health and well-being. So I think raising awareness of services, like you said, Samaritan, Shout, helplines, child lines, particularly good for the youth, like making sure you know that you can get help as well, and it's not always a burden for you. You know, you can help your friends, you can help your family, but there's also other places and people you can talk to for them, as long as it doesn't kind of impact yourself.
But there's also one, it's called Calm Harm, so that's a useful one if you are struggling with sort of self-harm. There's an app called Stay Alive, which is really useful if, you know, to support mental health and around suicide ideation. There's one called Finch, which is really good for kind of self-care, and it helps you set goals and kind of checks in. And there's also one called Couth. Exploring apps. I think those would be the suggestions from my team that young people have found really useful.
Especially using your phone for something more useful than like maybe doom scrolling, things like that. And you know, making sure you're kind of looking after yourself, you're getting help, and there are places you can get it, as we've discussed today. And I think that's just a really important message to share to people that might not know how to access it or where to access it. So I think we've covered everything we need to cover, and Thank you so much for listening. You can find us on
And West Sussex Voice and Participation on Spotify and YouTube.
and obviously you can access West Sussex Mind on the website, things like that. And yeah, I hope this helped you guys. Make sure to stay hydrated, eat well, and have a lovely day.
Thanks for listening to the Voice and Participation podcast from West Sussex. Don't forget, your voice matters, and together we can make a difference. Join us next time for more stories, ideas, and conversations led by children and young people.